Hi, folks. So I'm here for your full moon forecast. I was just sitting in the garden taking some notes. It felt so good to get that sun in. So the full moon, this full moon is happening on the 9th of August in the sign of Aquarius at 8:54 a.m. That's GMT time. So do check your time zone. I'm feeling like things are they're not completely calming down in the collective, but there is a sense of stability at this full moon that you may be relieved to know about. So, I've had so many calls recently with people and they're feeling really sort of up and down energetically, and, they don't know what to focus on and they're feeling a bit scattered. But at this full moon, because we're in that Aquarius energy's fixed energy, there should be a feeling of stability and grounding here for us. Although we're in the air sign, um, there is a real sort of stability that is also coming with this full moon. And it's happening at 17 degrees and 0 minutes of Aquarius. But also, of course, at a full moon, we have the polarity. So we have that and we have the Leo energy as well, which means this is all about really owning your creative genius, really stepping up and saying, this is me, this is my unique energy. I'm not going to try and people please. Aquarius energy is all about freedom and really being your true self, beyond all the conditionings. And there's a radical side to Aquarius that asks us to look outside the box, to think in different ways. So if there's like at this full moon, something's emerging because full moons bring things to the surface. And if there's like a pattern that you keep seeing in yourself and you're just like feel like you're bumping your head against a wall, this full moon may really liberate you to see it in a real different way that you've never seen before. So be open to seeing it through a new lens, through a new perspective, with new eyes. And when we see something in a new light, it's obviously able to shift and change. And I've seen this myself with this pattern of money that I have. Like I literally try to like grasp hold of it. And I wonder, like I push it away. It's this very grasping masculine energy that I've been very aware of in the last few days. So whatever the pattern is, meet it with curiosity, because when we berate ourselves and when we're frustrated, we don't allow the truth to come through your heart, your soul. Your soul knows, and sometimes this pattern is obviously here to teach you something. And if it's surfacing again, it's like, okay, I see you. What is the lesson here? What's the medicine I can take away? But really, with the full moon, Aquarius is the rebellious energy. So there's an invitation to be more rebellious and step outside the box in a way that you've never done before, right? Like I'm like creating all these things right now, which feels really edgy, but also really juicy. Like I'm in the middle of crafting a group program to start in September, which I've done I've done a couple of short sort of group containers, but this is like something I see that brings all my, skills and all the things I know into one, and I can run it again and again. So there's a sense of stability there. There's a sense of me going, oh, this is uncomfortable because I haven't done it before. And then there's there is going to be a bit of a chop and change with energy. So this Saturn Neptune conjunction that you may have heard me talk about is opposite Mars. So there's the real need to go, what do I want, in a very Aries way? What do I want? It's okay to go after my own desires because they matter. And to think outside the box for my own life, for my own progress. But there's also this opposition with Mars, which is very diplomatic. And so there's going to be a real desire and energy at this full moon to really cultivate and deepen your relationships, to really make more time for your friendships, for your loved ones. Maybe that's somewhere you've been abandoning. This is like giving us a new burst of energy when it comes to our relationships. And also, maybe some of those relationships are testing your boundaries because it's opposite Saturn. So, those relationships maybe sometimes are overstepping your boundaries. Do you need to put more boundaries in place? Or which relationships are limiting you? You know, the people that don't support you, that don't celebrate, you know, your wins, but also stay in your go into the dark nights of the soul, so to speak. Got something in my eye. Be mindful of that. You know, this is going to really illuminate that for who are the people that are supporting you, encouraging you to keep going for those bigger dreams and visions. And who are the people that are just kind of there and not really supporting you in the way that you'd love, right? So full permission, if you're feeling like there's a lot of relationships are just there that aren't really serving a purpose, that aren't stable and in line with your values and your vision, you can let those go. Full permission to let those go, let them go at this full moon. A full moon is a time of letting go and release. So use that energy to release that. So there's this real dynamic of innovation and also having boundaries in place with the innovation. Because if you're going to craft a group program like I'm doing, I also need some sort of structure in that. I need a time frame. I need systems to run that, you know, program through. So it's thinking about those systems because Aries, like you know, Saturn, Neptune, that conjunction's in Aries, and Aries loves to bolt forwards with full speed. And that Saturn is like, okay, we've got the vision. Let's really think this through. Let's be a bit more considered about how we put those ideas out into the world. There's still the fiery energy, but there is a real need to slow down with it and see all angles, you know, of the vision. And there's a really, you know, in this chart, the sun is in is quincunx, the quincunx to the north node. So I'm saying this symbolism for people that might understand a bit of astrology. This is really interesting because this is an aspect of a learning curve, something that is here to test us. And I often feel the things that are here to test us are the things that have the most impact on our internal world, right? The things that bring us to our knees, that crack us open. Like we need those experiences sometimes because this journey of being on this conscious journey is not always easy. And sometimes we need to bump against those edges to be reminded of who we truly are and to come back into our hearts. Because often we can get really into creation from the mind, from the ego. And I'm really guilty of doing that for years. It's only more recently that I'm really allowing even more from my soul, from my heart, and trusting that. And so there's this sort of testing energy of, you know, the North Node pushes us. It's where it's our real life lesson. It's the things we're meant to master. So this thing, something I was saying about earlier, like that pattern that's still surfacing and you're bumping up against, that is probably something you're meant to master, something you're meant to really integrate and receive the medicine from, because you are then able to teach that thing. So see it as like, okay, what is the lesson here? Why is this same? What is this pattern teaching me? You know, is it patience? Is it integrity? What is the lesson behind this obstacle that you feel? And it really may feel like you're being stretched to step into uncomfortable things. And that could be in what you're creating in your business as well. Yeah, because the soul path is what you're doing in the world, and you may start to this is going to illuminate maybe past desires or dreams that you had that felt from your soul, but you never followed them because of fear or whatever. You put them off. This is that, okay, this is the thing you're meant to do. I'm going to keep leaving nuggets. The universe keeps leaving nuggets in your way for you to follow those nuggets. And even when it feels uncomfortable, trusting that your heart and soul know the journey. That is something I'm leaning even deeper into right now. It's like the human brain doesn't always know the how. That's okay. Just keep following those steps. Keep trusting the voice of your heart because it feels different to the ego. And then we've got this beautiful Venus-Jupiter conjunction in Neptune. There's like a real warm hug, a sense of really enjoying ourselves, really nurturing our, emotional world right now. Although, it's we're in the summer, but this is sort of a really cozy energy of ways that, what supports you on an emotional level. What are those things that light you up and make you feel wealthy and safe and nourished within you? Those are the things to be spending time on right now. That's a really lovely aspect. And then there's this opposition I want to speak to of Pluto opposite Mercury. So this is a real tension of almost like suppressed grief and anger surfacing right now that needs to be voiced and expressed in some way. Because if we don't express those things, they linger, they stay as trauma in the body. And then eventually that leads to, that's what I believe, illness and disease if we don't deal with these intense emotions. So really being brave at this point to face those shadows and face those old wounds that may be surfacing. And also, sometimes I often find the hardest things, the things that crack us open, is where our deepest medicine lies. That is what brings more potency and more aliveness to the work you're doing in the world. So lean into that tension and really find a way to express that, if it's through writing, painting, speaking, whatever it is, but really allow that to move through you and transmute it. And there's it's almost like a really fiery energy that is gonna can be real fuel for your creativity, for your creative projects, for the things you're birthing in the world. It's really lighting a fire up your ass to give it like a deeper, more rooted energy there. So yeah, overall, we're in that fixed energy, which is stabilizing, a sense of grounding. That Aquarius is thinking outside the box. And when we're creating, it's really important that we think, how can this serve humanity? That's the question. Aquarius is all about everyone. It's not just about me. It's like, how can this help the higher good of the planet? And that Leo, the polarity of the full moon, the Leo is like leaning into that courage and that fierce quality of Leo that is just confident and self-assured, leaning into that to birth those creations in the world, right? So this will really support you, although there are some oppositions here. I often don't think always, oppositions are necessarily good or bad. It's open to interpretation. But also we need that polarity in our life to grow and expand. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know what like tension or things are surfacing for you at this full moon. Do share in the comments below. I always love hearing from you. And very soon I have a 4-day online free event coming to journey with the archetypes and cyclical wisdom to bring you back to really a like ritual space to help you embody and step into this whole new sense of self. And this is really helpful for anyone that is maybe gone through a transition and is not sure where they're going, who they are anymore. This 4-day event is going to be so potent, and I'm really excited. This has been brewing for a long time, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be running in a couple of weeks, and I will share the details below this video. Much love, my dears. Bye.